Have you ever imagined a perfect world? What would it look like? What would you do in the perfect world? Well, in this book, The Astonishing Life of Octavian Nothing, the main character, Octavian, lives in what he thinks is the perfect world. He thinks it's the perfect world because everyone around him tells him that it is. Octavian lives in a household in Boston, Massachusetts. It's a household of intellectuals, wealthy intellectuals. They read classical books. They conduct science experiments. They listen to the finest music and dance and sing all of the classics in European culture. And Octavian grows up getting introduced to this culture and absorbing all of the manners and habits of the people around him. And as far as he can tell, it is the perfect world. This is the world where people of refined tastes live. This is the world where people with keen intellects live, people who are curious about how things work and who understand and are in touch with the truths that govern the world. There's only one problem. Octavian is not exactly a member of this household. He is, in fact, an African slave, brought over from Africa, sold into slavery, and purchased by a wealthy intellectual. And even though he has been introduced to the finest books and thoughts and emotions in Western culture, he is not considered an equal by the others in the household. He is considered rather an experiment. He is the subject of an effort to understand the workings of the African mind and to detail precisely its limitations in comparison to European and white minds. Surrounding Octavian are other characters who help him to grow into and understand this world. On the one hand, there's his mother, a princess also brought over from Africa and sold into slavery. And from her, Octavian learns to appreciate all of the rich ideas and opportunities that he sees around him. On the other hand, Octavian also learns from a young slave named Bono, who also is in the household, but who is not introduced to the finer things, that much of what goes on in the household is a disguise, and not actually as comforting and uplifting as Octavian believes it to be. Well, Octavian does a pretty good job of ignoring Bono and maintaining his view that the people, the adults who are around him, supporting him in his efforts to learn, have his best interests in mind. He maintains that view until the elder in the house, a man named Mr. Gitney, organizes a pox party. And this pox party is another experiment, this time to ascertain how blacks and whites respond to outbreaks, to the disease of smallpox that is threatening the larger Boston community. And it's this experiment that ultimately pushes Octavian to rethink all of his assumptions, not only about the house in which he lives, but also the people around him and what he wants to do with his future. If you want to find out what happens to Octavian, then go out and get this book. It's a wonderful book by an award-winning author, exquisitely written, rich in historical detail, very interesting in its depiction of the American Revolution and also the particular attitudes that people had towards slavery and African Americans at that time. If you want to understand some of the problems that we continue to have in the world today related to race and the role of science and learning in our society, then The Astonishing Life of Octavian Nothing is the book for you.